Alright, YouTubers, this is beer batch number 2. I videotaped the first one, but I got a new phone and I'm not sure that the videos came out. So this is from Scortino and Sons. They're in Sebastian. The guy, Ryan, and I think his dad's Jim. Yeah, I think his dad. I was just looking at the business card. I think his dad's Jim. Anyways, they are some of the coolest guys in town for this stuff. Ryan actually went to their office yesterday on their day off, closed, to print me out the recipe and email me the recipe because I lost it somewhere between Tuesday and yesterday. So we made a batch yesterday. I'm making another one here now. It's for one of my best friend's weddings. He's getting married in October. Ben Murphy. This is going to be Murphy's Honey Brown. It's going to be the name of our beer. He said he wanted a honey brown ale, so that's what I'm making for him. This part of the process here is the turkey fryer. Got my little windscreen set up. The table that we use while we're selling honey. It's a little bit breezy out here tonight, which is nice though, because it's not so hot. One of the first nights it hasn't rained. So what we got going on is in that pot we have what is known as the steep, and it needs to be about 155 degrees, and it is pretty particular, so it cooks the half hour at 155 degrees, and Ryan and his dad will give you all those directions if you're interested in making any beer. Anyways, it's 155 degrees, 30 minutes for this particular batch, and I'll show you the recipe here. So, my little recipe, honey brown ale. We use honey. I think he called for 2 pounds of honey. So they print you out this nice thing with directions. You get all your ingredients. I use this here in place of doing the first round, and I'm not sure what that part is called. I'm not a professional brewer yet, but anyways, that's the part where you boil down where you make a mash and cook the mash down and so forth, but you get to skip that step there. It's basically the same thing. It's not the purest way to do it, but it's also still completely natural. It's not fake in there. It's all a whole natural thing. So it's you're not losing anything by doing it that way. I think the next batch, my third attempt, I am going to do it with that. So that's the setup. Turkey fryer. We're going to let this cook for a half hour, and then I'll show you adding the other ingredients. What we got in there is this bag, and that's the steeping grains, and then they're put into that little sort of sock. And the beginning direction, it called for about a gallon, but it wasn't quite enough, so I put in 2 gallons, and that the part doesn't really, if it cooks in the gallon of water, it's not so big a deal as long as your total at the end is the 5 gallons basically. But we're gonna watch this. Got my little thermometer in there. I have a digital one that my brother-in-law let me borrow, but I can't find it, so we're using the cooking thermometer. As long as it's about 155, we're at like 157 right now, which is okay. So we'll keep it right about there for another 20 minutes or so, and then we'll take this out and I'll show you the other parts of the process. So I'm gonna get the other ingredients out of the fridge. We got some yeast and some of the hops that go in there. But yeah, I'll show you this, and then something else cool you can do with the honey. All right, here's the last 3 ingredients, and then what we're gonna do is we'll pour in that bag of the powder I showed you. That's like the mash or whatever you want to call it, and that will cook or boil for 30 minutes. This is the boil, will be the next part. So we got a couple minutes left on the steep, and that was with that bag of grains. Then we're going to put in, I believe it's this Northern Brewer. After the first bag boils for 30 minutes, this goes in for 10. Then we put in the second bag, that boils for 30 minutes. Then we're going to put the Cascade pellets in. These are going to go in for another 10 minutes. Then when we're all done, we mix in the honey and this dry ale yeast. It's the Cephale US 105. I guess that's how you say that. Cephale, whatever it is, that stuff. It's going in, and then it will sit in the fermenter after we let it cool. So it's got to cool. You can't put the sugar, the yeast, or, we use honey, but you can't put that sugar and the yeast in until it gets down to, this one says 77 degrees, as you can see it on there. But once it gets down to about 75 or 70 on the thermometer, I'll throw it in, because you don't want it too hot. It'll kill the yeast. But temperature controlled. It's fun. A little bit of a science experiment. So I enjoy it. Get some beer out of the deal, and we use our honey, so it's all natural stuff. All right, and then I'll show you the bottling. Now that's going to be a few weeks down the road, but that'll be in a second video. We'll post this one now at the beginning part, then I'll show you what it looks like while we're doing the boil. So you can see we're still just went over 160 for the last few minutes there. So I just,
ooh, that was hot.
I just take it off the heat and let it sit over here, and it'll cool down a little bit. Yeah, so it just barely went over 160. So we'll let that cool off for a little bit for the last few minutes, and then we're gonna set it up to boil. All right, so here we have the Northern Brewer. This is gonna go in for 10 minutes, and you see they're just little pellets. And they're gonna go inside this little sack, just a little sock, and we're just going to pour the pellets in there inside the little opening, and then tie it up. And this has been boiling. It's almost a little steamed up there. It's almost to the 20 minutes. I'm gonna shut the camera off because I just got it steamed up, but it's been 29 minutes here, so that's about done. So I'll shut the camera off. All right, so that's the little sack in there. Trying to stay out of the steam. Just fogging up the camera. But anyways, just hang the little sack down in the water, and let that one cook for 10 minutes like that. And then we add the next bag of the mix, and then we're gonna add another bag with the Cascade in it. That was the Northern Brewer. The next one will be the Cascade, and then that'll brew for 30 minutes, and then we put in one more of these for 10. So it's really cool. The only other thing I might suggest that you get, and then we have a scale, and most of you guys that are probably making honey should have a scale to weigh your jars, because you guys sell honey by weight. But Scortino & Sons conveniently places all of these, all the ones I've bought so far, I should say, into 1 ounce packages. Now, the last batch of beer that I made, which was the Papa Bee's Black Honey IPA, it called for a ½ ounce. It was a little bit more complicated. It was a ½ ounce and then an ounce and a ½ ounce. There was some different mixtures for the flavoring. You may need a scale, and we have a nice digital scale that we got. There's a local restaurant supply here in Vero Beach, just north of 8th, I believe, on Old Dixie, and I'll try to post their link also, along with Scortino & Sons, in the comments on the post here. But anyways, this thing will cook here for 10 minutes to set the timer, and then we're gonna add the next bag, and then we have to let it cool, and then we'll show you pitch the yeast and mix the honey, and then we're gonna start the second batch. We gotta make 2 batches. 100 beer. Each batch makes about 50 beers. Each batch is about 50 beers, and the price is great. I mean, for $30 some or so, you can get enough to make 50 beers. I mean, it takes a little bit of time, and you get some really, really good beer to drink. All right, next step. We're going to pour this CBW Golden Light. It's the malt extract. Like I said, it saves you the one step there, and we're probably going to try it even the little bit more purest way, because I'm sure the beer maker guys out there are like, oh. But actually, Ryan Scortino and Son says this, you know, you're really not losing anything. It's for the fanatics. But my beer has come out delicious with the Papa Bee's Honey Brown, or Black IPA, I'm sorry. The first one that we made with them was really good. So we just basically pour this powder in there, and we leave that first bag in. You don't take that out. Slowly just pour this powder in there while it's boiling. May have to turn it up a little bit. Pour this in there, let it boil. And cool it down a little. We got the bag in there. A little bit of some steam stuck on it. Turn the boil up a little bit. Give her a little stir around. Get some of this stuff off the outsides. And hey, if any of you guys think I'm doing anything wrong here, I'm not supposed to be stirring, or if it should be at a higher boil, I appreciate the comments and help here. This is, like I said, this is beer round 2. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Papa Bee's Honey. We have a lot of cool recipes there, remedies, different things you can do with honey. The beer thing just happens to be something fun that I enjoy. It's second round, I'm kind of getting into it, and we like to use our honey for different stuff. My wife and I, Celine, we have a garden, chickens, the bees, we like to eat a lot of just whole foods and things like that we cook. That's just one more thing you can do with the honey here. And then I think tonight we're thinking about making some of our furniture polish, and I can videotape that. I'll show you how we do it. In that video there'll be the wax block, the one that I melted a couple days ago. I think the video came out on there, and I thought I'd show you what the melted wax looks like inside that milk carton, so I'll be taking a picture of that tonight. But we'll show you the next part. We're going to add another one of these bags into there as this boil happens. So it's starting to heat back up, and we'll let this boil for 10 minutes, and then we'll add the next bag of the flavor. Hey, one thing I forgot to mention here. See this foam that you're getting? Now, just a minute or so ago, and I had shut the camera off, and I forgot I should have made this important deal. And like I said, it's only my second time, so I'm learning this. But when you add the bag of the malt extract, this bad boy foams up quite a bit. Oh man. And the foam will get out of control, and it'll come out over the edge. As you can see, this is where it came out with the first bag that I added, and it slid down there, and it just kind of cooks off or whatever. But then after it boils up for a second, it calms down, and it'll just be a boiling pot of beer. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Make sure you are attending this process the entire time. Don't be leaving this thing alone. It's definitely not, not flammable, but you'll ruin what you're doing. You know what I mean? The worst thing that happens is it boils over and puts the flame out, and you just gotta start it over. But you can make a big, giant, sticky mess if you kind of leave this thing alone. All right, and we'll show you the next bag. This one's got, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes left. I'm gonna throw the next bag with the Cascade in there. Hey everybody, Redneck Bean Man here. So we're doing to the next process. We got to put one more bag in for 10 minutes. that would be this here. Stuff smells good. Cascade, this one's called. It's another one of the hops. And it was in the black IPA, and it's the flavor out of that stuff is really good. So that'll be going in there for another 10 minutes. We'll let that cook, and then we'll be taking it out. We'll actually remove it from the heat there. I'm going to start the next batch because I have a second pot. I got to make 2 of these batches tonight. And once it cools to 160 degrees, something like that, we're going to pitch the yeast and put the sugar in. And then that's it. We'll let it sit for a couple weeks. Then once it's done fermenting, we'll bottle it and let it sit for maybe another 4 weeks. The wedding is the middle of October, so the beer will be perfect by then. Tasty. Too bad you can't taste one. They may all be disappeared by the end of the wedding. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our videos here. If you have any questions, come on, send them to us. We'll be happy to answer them for you. Thanks. Bye.